Anna Triu swiped her card one last time, squeezing into the crowded subway car amidst the suffocating rush-hour throng. Her phone screen was the only thing that pulled her away from her exhausting reality. She was a lowly office worker, barely making ends meet, living in a rented apartment just a few square meters wide. This morning, her passionate project plan had been stolen by a colleague, and in the afternoon, her boss had scolded her for a mistake that wasn't even hers. Life, for her, was a monotonous and unfair string of days. As an orphan, Anna had no family to rely on. Her only joy was reading web novels where she could temporarily escape her real life. The novel she was currently engrossed in was titled Overlord of Dragon Abyss, a typical dark, melodramatic underworld romance. The male lead, Ethan Lee, was a cold, ruthless crime boss rumored to be impotent. The supporting female character shared the same name as his nominal fiancée, Stella Hạ. Stella was a true flower vase, beautiful but useless, destined for a tragic end. If only I could be like Stella Hạ, Anna sighed. Just be a pretty face, have money to spend, and a husband who ignores you. That would be paradise. A deafening screech of tires ripped through the air, followed by a powerful impact from behind that sent the taxi she was in flying. Before her consciousness plunged into darkness, the last words she read on her phone screen were, Stella Hạ, in her ultimate despair, decided to end her life. When Anna Triu opened her eyes again, the first thing she felt was the softness of Egyptian silk sheets and the gentle, calming scent of incense in the air. The soaring ceiling was adorned with a magnificent crystal chandelier. She sat up dazedly, looking down at her slender, pale hands devoid of any calluses. This wasn't her body. She leaped out of bed and rushed to the large mirror. Reflected back was a stunningly beautiful girl with an oval face, large, clear almond eyes like autumn water, a delicate high nose bridge, and plump, cherry-red lips, a fragile, pure beauty like fine porcelain. "It's Stella Hạ," she whispered, the cannon fodder supporting character from the novel I just read. After 10 minutes of initial panic, Anna, with the steely nerves of someone used to fending for herself, quickly accepted the truth. And then an explosion of pure joy erupted within her. She had transmigrated into the body of a rich supporting character. "I've won the lottery," she shrieked, jumping up and down, laughing like a madwoman. "Let's analyze this. 1. Rich husband, Ethan Lee, the overlord of Dragon Abyss City with money flowing like water. 2. Husband is never home. Out of 12 months a year, he spends 10 abroad handling organizational affairs. 3. Husband is impotent. This is the golden detail. Perfect for being neighbors, absolutely no physical danger. 4. I'm a flower vase, no need to work, no need to worry, just exist and spend money. If this isn't paradise, what is? What ultimate despair? The original owner was truly foolish with these conditions. She could live a life of absolute freedom, sleep until noon, go to bars at night to find handsome men, and never run out of money. Anna Triu decided she would live a truly glorious life in Stella Ha''s stead, and so her paradise began. For 20 consecutive days, Ethan Lee was nowhere to be seen. Anna, in Stella Ha''s body, lived an utterly unrestrained life. During the day, she played with cats and dogs in the mansion, or went shopping, swiping her card without looking at prices. In the evenings, she changed into a sexy dress and went to the Nightfall bar to drink and admire handsome men. This life was excessively blissful. Until the 21st day. Ethan Lee, who wasn't supposed to return for another 10 months, suddenly appeared. When the servant announced the young master's return, Anna was sprawled on the living room sofa, feet propped on the coffee table, watching TV and cracking melon seeds. She casually glanced towards the door. A tall man in a perfectly tailored black suit walked in. His cold, overpowering aura seemed to drop the temperature in the living room by several degrees. It was Ethan Lee, far more handsome than she had imagined. She waved a hand in a dismissive greeting. "You're back." "It's not a holiday. What are you doing home?" Ethan shot her a glance, then looked down at the melon seed shells scattered on his polished leather shoes. He said nothing, his face devoid of expression, and walked straight upstairs. "What a mood killer," Anna pouted, but didn't dare provoke him. After all, he was a crime boss. Staying alive was more important. For 3 consecutive nights, Ethan stayed home. For 3 consecutive nights, Anna couldn't go to the bar. The confinement was driving her insane. On the 3rd night, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a bottle of wine and went out to the garden, sitting under a tree, drinking and cursing. You hateful sourpuss, go back abroad. I want to go find handsome men and have my freedom back. Just then, the second-floor window opened. Ethan stood there, his face as cold as ice, staring down at her. He spoke his first words since returning. Stella Hạ, are you insane? They say alcohol gives you courage. Under the influence, Anna completely forgot who she was talking to. She actually dared to jut out her chin, flipping the crime boss the middle finger, and brazenly yelled, "Hey, brat, shut your stinking mouth. Can't you see I'm busy?" The next morning, Anna woke up with a splitting headache. She stumbled downstairs to find Jason Chin, Ethan Lee's close subordinate, waiting with a look of profound sympathy. "Madam," Jason said, his voice deadly serious, "you finally dared to give the young master the middle finger. Your finger has already been chopped off and thrown into the sea for the fish." Anna froze. Jason played the surveillance footage from last night for her. In the video, a woman with disheveled hair, face flushed from alcohol, stood in the garden, flipping the middle finger and eloquently cursing Ethan Lee. Anna's entire body went cold. "Who in this world would be so bold?" she muttered, her face drained of all color. She decided she had to win Ethan's favor. Her survival instinct flared intensely. She vowed that for the 1 or 2 months he remained in the country, she would live as obediently as a tail-wagging puppy. But it seemed fate had decreed her to be his nemesis. She brought coffee into his study, only to trip and spill it all over a multi-million-dollar project contract. She finally managed to cook a meal that wasn't burnt, only to accidentally add a strange mushroom that sent him straight to the hospital with food poisoning. At the hospital, she diligently cared for him but fell asleep, her entire body pressing down on his IV drip. She insisted on feeding him medicine, but her hand trembled, splashing the bitter liquid straight into his nose. Jason Chin, standing nearby, let out a profound sigh. "Madam, in all these years, the young master has never faced as many life-threatening dangers as he has in these past few days." The moment Jason finished speaking, Anna Triu froze like a statue. She slowly turned her back to him, tremblingly picked up an apple, determined to do something truly good to atone. "Peeling an apple, just peeling an apple," she told herself. Surely nothing can go wrong with something this simple. She concentrated intensely, her eyes fixed on the knife blade moving across the apple skin. This time, strangely, the peel didn't break. A long, perfectly even strip of peel emerged under her hands. Success! A never-before-felt sense of achievement swelled within her. She excitedly held up the perfectly peeled apple and its long strip of skin, turning to show Ethan Lee like a child proudly displaying a good grade. "Look, Ethan, see how good I am?" As the apple peel was swung up, the sharp blade in her hand, following the momentum, lightly glided a perfect line across the back of Ethan Lee's hand, which he had extended to receive the apple. Time seemed to stop. A fresh crimson line of blood slowly seeped from his pale skin. Ethan slowly looked down at the wound, then up at her. His deep eyes held no ripples, but his voice carried an endless weariness. This was the first time he had spoken since entering the hospital. "Stella Hạ," he said, "are you trying to kill me?" "Ah!" Anna shrieked in horror. She frantically threw the knife and apple away, grabbed a tissue box from the table, and tremblingly dabbed at his wound. Her will to survive fluctuated wildly. I swear I didn't mean to." "Boss, please don't kill me, I was wrong." Ethan didn't kill her, but surviving next to him was truly too difficult. On the way out of the hospital, the Rolls-Royce was smoothly cruising down a deserted road when suddenly 2 black cars appeared from nowhere, one in front and one behind, sandwiching their vehicle. "Young master, it's an ambush!" Jason Chin, in the passenger seat, yelled, his hand already on his gun. For the first time in her life, Anna truly understood the meaning of a hail of bullets. Gunshots rang out, glass shattered, metal clashed deafeningly. Her entire body trembled violently, only one thought in her mind: run for your life. This is his family's problem, not mine. Just as she was about to open the car door and flee, a steel-like arm clamped around her waist, pulling her down. Ethan Lee shielded her with his body, his face as calm as a statue, not a hint of panic. "Don't be afraid," he whispered in her ear. "I'm here. You won't die." He quickly opened the other car door, pulling her directly into the dense forest by the roadside. Bullets whizzed over their heads. Anna was so terrified her soul nearly left her body. Only after finding a safe hiding spot behind a large rock did she regain her composure. Ethan's earlier whispered words echoed in her ears. "Protect my head, huh?" she silently cursed. If he hadn't held her so tightly, she would have taken advantage of the chaos and fled. I don't want to die. The money in my account isn't even spent yet. My designer bag order isn't arriving for another 2 days, and how many handsome male models are waiting for me at the Golden Finch Club? Of course, she didn't dare voice these thoughts. She could only play along with the situation, looking up at him with teary, sparkling eyes full of adoration. Ethan, you're so dependable. You absolutely must protect my precious little life. Just as she was deep in her act, she suddenly turned her head. The bushes behind her stirred slightly, and a dark gun barrel was pointed directly at Ethan Lee, who was focused on observing the front. Anna panicked. Reflexively, she wanted to scream to warn him. She had barely opened her mouth to yell, "Ethan!" Bang. A bullet from another direction, originally aimed directly at Ethan's back, instead struck her left shoulder as she turned. A fierce pain erupted. In that moment on the brink of death, Anna Triu's mind was incredibly clear. Oh no, she thought, this time I'm really dead. But her dramatic nature resurfaced. She decided she had to die heroically. She spread her arms, looked up at the sky, trying to strike the most beautiful pose to embrace her end, silently vowing, if I can transmigrate again, I absolutely must be a wealthy matriarch, not relying on men. But someone wasn't willing to let her enjoy this tragic moment. Ethan Lee spun around the moment he heard the gunshot. Seeing her fall, his eyes flashed with horror and extreme fury. He moved with the speed of a leopard, taking down the remaining assailants with precise, ruthless shots in mere seconds. Then he rushed to cradle her in his arms, his voice trembling with panic. Stella Hạ, why are you so foolish? Taking a bullet for me again? No, big brother, you've completely misunderstood. Anna silently screamed in her heart, but the pain made it impossible to speak. Ethan held her tighter, his deep eyes filled with a fervent emotion she had never seen before. I never knew you loved me so much. I only really love your money. He bent down, his voice hoarse and resolute. Don't speak anymore. I won't let you die. Oh, so I can still be saved. The thought flickered through her mind. And so, Anna, knowing better, shut her mouth and obediently fainted in the arms of the crime boss, who was completely engrossed in a fateful misunderstanding. Anna woke up in a luxurious hospital room, arguably the finest in Dragon Abyss City. The room was larger than her old apartment, with opulent furnishings and panoramic city views. The strong scent of disinfectant was softened by the faint fragrance of fresh orchids. Her left shoulder was carefully bandaged, the pain significantly dulled. Madam, you're awake? Jason Chin's voice sounded. Anna turned to see Jason standing formally beside her, but her attention was drawn to the man seated in the armchair next to the bed, Ethan Lee. He was no longer wearing his cold black suit but a simple white shirt, sleeves rolled up to reveal strong wrists. A faint stubble shadowed his chin, and dark circles of fatigue lay beneath his eyes, yet his deep gaze was focused solely on her. That look was no longer distant indifference, but a poignant worry and an intense affection, so hot it made her want to avert her eyes. How are you feeling? He asked, his voice hoarse from lack of sleep. I'm fine, Anna stammered. Just then, a nurse brought in a bowl of porridge. Ethan took the bowl and naturally sat on the edge of the bed. Let me. He scooped a spoonful of porridge, carefully blew on it to cool it, and brought it to her lips. This action stunned both Anna and Jason, who stood nearby. The notorious crime boss of Dragon Abyss City, a man whose frown could bankrupt others, was now gently feeding his wife porridge. Anna mechanically opened her mouth and took the spoonful. The taste wasn't bad, but his intense focus made it hard for her to swallow. Each spoonful, he blew on it meticulously, his gaze never leaving her for a second, as if she were a fragile treasure. Madam, Jason cleared his throat, breaking the strange atmosphere. In all the years I've known the young master, this is the first time I've seen him personally care for someone else. Jason's words only made Anna feel more uneasy. The misunderstanding about her, taking a bullet for him, seemed to have created an incredibly serious consequence. After being discharged from the hospital, her life officially entered a new phase which she called sweet confinement. On the very first night home, as she prepared to enjoy the large bed alone, Ethan Lee walked into her bedroom, casually carrying his pillow. What are you doing? Anna asked warily. From now on, I'll sleep here, he said, his tone stating a simple fact. It's convenient for taking care of you. With that, he took off his shoes, climbed into bed, and lay down beside her, maintaining a reasonable distance. Anna stiffened, sharing a bed with him. But then she reassured herself. It's fine. He's not capable, right? Why am I so nervous? That was the theory, but in reality, having a man with a perfect physique, a sculpted face, and an overwhelming aura lying right next to her was incredibly hard to ignore. Moreover, ever since her injury, Ethan had forcibly changed her entire lifestyle. At this hour previously, she should have been at the Golden Finch Club, with a warm asterisk Nam Men on her left and an energetic young idol on her right. But now, she could only lie still in bed, staring at the back of Ethan's neck, reminiscing about her lost days of freedom. He forbade her from drinking, saying it was bad for her wound. He made her go to bed before 11 p.m. If she resisted, he would simply pick her up and carry her to bed. All her activities were under his control. The freedom she had longed for had vanished without a trace. That night, she tossed and turned, unable to sleep, feeling both annoyed and aggrieved. She shifted slightly, wanting to turn over for comfort. Suddenly, a strong arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her into his embrace. Ethan held her from behind, effectively trapping her while carefully avoiding her injured left shoulder. His deep, sleep-hoarse voice resonated above her head. "Don't move anymore. You seem unable to sleep. If you can't sleep, then go back to your own room," Anna blurted out in a fit of frustration. The entire room fell into a deathly silence. Anna realized she had spoken carelessly. She truly wanted to slap herself twice. Just as she was about to turn over to lessen this awkward proximity, she heard his warning voice. "Don't move. Wait." Her knee had just brushed against something hard and hot. An unbelievable thought flashed through her mind. She stammered, her voice full of confusion. "You, aren't you? Not capable?" Silence. A terrifying silence. Then, suddenly, Ethan turned her around, facing him in the darkness. She could feel his hot breath on her face. He let out a soft, dangerous, low chuckle. "Who told you I wasn't capable?" Anna was completely petrified. Could the information in the novel be wrong? He leaned down, close to her ear, his voice as cold as a demon just crawled out of hell, carrying a wicked amusement. "Or perhaps, you'd like to find out?" "Find out? Find out what? How to find out? How asterisk would asterisk I find out?" Anna forced a laugh, rubbing her hands awkwardly. "This isn't really a good idea, is it? Just asking beforehand, do I need to pay or take responsibility?" To be honest, Ethan's looks and charisma were far superior to the male models she usually entertained. But with models, you just pay and it's over. As for him, he wouldn't make her take responsibility for life, would he? She didn't want that. Silence fell again. Anna could hear Ethan taking a deep breath, as if trying to suppress an imminent outburst of anger. She could feel his self-control nearing 99%. Finally, he growled each word, his voice both angry and helpless. "Stella Hạ, you're the first woman who wanted to buy me and expected it for free." The next morning, the atmosphere at the dining table was heavy, as if a storm was brewing. Ethan Lee ate in silence, his face cold and impassive, not uttering a single word. Anna sat opposite him, back ramrod straight, not daring to breathe loudly. Jason and the other servants moved about like ghosts, fearing even the smallest sound might ignite the young master's wrath. Anna knew this was her punishment, not a beating, not a scolding, but this terrifying silence. He was clearly retaliating for her foolish question last night, and that retaliation quickly materialized. She decided to break the silence by declaring, "Today, I want to go to the Golden Finch Club." Ethan put his fork down, looked up at her, his eyes devoid of any warmth. "Your wound isn't healed yet." "I injured my shoulder, not broke my arm," she retorted. "I can still hug people." Ethan's face darkened. He stared at her for a long moment, then suddenly spoke a seemingly unrelated sentence that was, in fact, a fatal warning. "Stella Hạ, you're married." With that, he stood up and left the dining table. A few minutes later, Anna's phone received a series of messages. "Your credit card has been locked. Your debit card has been frozen." She was furious. He dared to cut off her financial resources. Undeterred, she still decided to go to the Golden Finch Club. If she had no money, she could at least admire handsome men for free. She changed into a dazzling dress and called Jason to take her. Ethan didn't stop her, merely curling his lips into an enigmatic smile. Arriving at the Golden Finch Club, Anna regained her big sister swagger, confidently striding in and immediately summoning her 10 favorite flower-like male models. "Darlings, sweethearts, big sister is here." But before she could even begin to enjoy herself, the manager knocked on the room door, an awkward expression on his face. "Miss Hạ, all your membership cards are not working." Immediately after, she received a call from the fashion store, informing her that the limited edition designer bag she had pre-ordered had been purchased by someone else. She didn't need to guess who was behind this string of events. Anna Trieu was fuming. She stormed straight back to the mansion. She found Ethan Lee leisurely sipping tea in the living room. Seeing her, he curved his lips into a relaxed smile. Didn't you say those models would wither if they didn't see you? In the end, are they withering because they don't see you or because they don't see your money? Anna was choked with rage. She let out a cold laugh, snatched the teacup from his hand, chugged it down, then defiantly spat into his teapot before darting upstairs. Ethan Lee followed, grabbing her arm, his eyes dangerously narrowed. Stella Hạ, you are the first person who dared not answer my question. So what? Do you think anyone cares about you? You just pay a high price, that's all. Ethan suddenly burst into laughter, a laugh that sent a shiver down Anna's spine. That night, she hugged her stack of unblocked bank cards, gleefully rushing to the Golden Finch Club. But upon arriving, the entire vast club was empty, not a soul in sight. She froze, then turned to Jason. Where are the people? Jason respectfully replied. Madam, the young master spent a large sum of money to hire all the club staff and models to the Northwest region to plant trees and raise pigs. If Madam truly wishes to see them, the young master said he could arrange his private jet to take you to the pig farm for a visit. Anna Trieu's life officially entered days of pure heart and few desires. No handsome men, no good wine, no freedom, she decided she had to escape. Escape plan number 1, wall climbing. In the middle of the night, she packed a backpack full of valuables and stealthily snuck out to the back garden. The mansion wall was quite high, but it wasn't a challenge for her. But as she teetered on top of the wall, preparing to jump down and taste freedom, she froze. Below, Ethan Lee stood leisurely. Beside him were 10 Doberman dogs, each as big as a calf, baring their fangs at her. He smiled beneficently. Care for a walk with me and the dogs. Escape plan number 2, escaping through a fitting room. After all the fences were topped with high-voltage electric wire, she switched to plan B. She pretended to be obedient and asked Ethan to take her shopping. He agreed. At a high-end shopping mall, she knew a store's fitting room had a back door that led to a storage area from which she could escape. She chose a pile of clothes, glanced to see him sitting on a sofa scrolling on his phone, then quietly slipped into the fitting room. Ha, little brat, you think you can stop me? But when she managed to open the back door of the storage room, she froze again. A long line of bodyguards in black suits stood there, completely surrounding the area. The door behind them opened. Ethan Lee stood calmly, gently taking her hand, his tone soft yet dangerous. Silly girl, did you get lost? Just when Anna was at her most desperate, thinking she would be caged like a bird and trapped like a fish forever, a heaven-sent opportunity arrived. She was kidnapped. Who would have thought that right in Ethan Lee's company parking lot, she would be targeted by 2 aggressive kidnappers? They gagged and bound her, dragging her towards a dilapidated old truck. While the kidnappers were still threatening her, saying it was best to obey, Anna Trieu's inner self was screaming with joy. Thank heavens, thank bodhisattvas. Finally, a chance to escape Ethan Lee's clutches. Before they could even react, she opened the car door and jumped straight in. What are you two staring at? Get in the car, quickly. But her joy of savoring freedom didn't last long before a convoy of sleek black cars, like a pack of hungry wolves, sped towards them from behind. The kidnapper driving broke into a cold sweat, panicking. Damn it, how did he get here so fast? Anna blinked, then glanced down at the diamond watch on her wrist. Oh crap! This was the watch that Ethan Lee himself had put on her 2 days ago, explicitly telling her never to take it off. She quickly tore off the tape over her mouth and yelled, "The watch has a tracker. Take it off and throw it out the window quickly." The kidnapper stared blankly at her. Anna was so annoyed that she ripped off her own bonds, removed the watch herself, threw it out, and then angrily kicked the kidnapper next to her. Are you deaf? With such stupid business practices, what kind of future do you expect? She turned and yelled at the driver. What are you looking at? Don't you see the car's right on our tail? Step on it. The kidnapper in the back twisted his mouth. Big sister, are you actually a spy planted by Ethan Lee? Just a few minutes later, their truck was cut off and the door was torn open. Ethan Lee appeared, his face as cold as ice, but his eyes burning with fire. He carried her out of the truck, his voice unexpectedly gentle. Don't be afraid, I'm taking you home. Anna despairingly watched the 2 kidnappers being beaten black and blue by his subordinates, then with great resolve, she burrowed her head into Ethan Lee's chest, her voice high-pitched and feigning a tremble. H.H.U, I'm so scared. That evening in the living room, Ethan played the surveillance video from the parking lot. The scene of her gleefully jumping into the truck was rewound and played repeatedly. Her heart pounded. She watched him toss the iPad aside, stand up, and walk towards her. "It's over. Today is my Memorial Day." He raised his hand. She squeezed her eyes shut, cowering, but his cold hand only gently brushed past her ear, his low voice softly echoing. "They threatened you, didn't they?" "Why, yes, yes, yes." "You had no intention of running away from me, did you?" "No, no, absolutely not. It was all those two scoundrels forcing me." Ethan Lee chuckled softly, a dangerous smile. "Good girl." After the self-directed kidnapping incident, Ethan Lee disappeared for 3 consecutive days. He didn't return home but left his closest subordinate, Jason Chin, at the mansion, ostensibly to protect the madam but in reality to monitor her 24/7. Once her fear subsided, Anna began to feel bored. She approached Jason, who stood stiffly like a statue in the corner of the living room, to extract information. "Hey, where did your young master go?" Jason respectfully replied, "Madam, the young master's schedule must be kept confidential." "Then when will he be back?" "That also needs to be kept confidential." Anna narrowed her eyes. "So, is there anything I am allowed to know?" Jason wavered slightly. He looked at her, his gaze complex, containing respect, sympathy, and helplessness. After a long moment, he cautiously spoke, his voice sincere. "Madam, the young master truly cares for you. I've never seen him care for anyone like this. Please, madam, don't try to run away anymore. Given how often you defy the young master, anyone else would have been chopped into pieces by now." Upon hearing this sincere advice, Anna was not only unmoved but exploded. She unleashed a torrent of words, venting all her pent-up frustration. Truly care like a barnacle sticking to me. 7 days a week he makes me work overtime, 7 days a week. Even when sleeping, he has to wrap his arms and legs around me like an octopus. If I'm in the restroom for more than 10 minutes, he knocks on the door. Eating meals, I must sit right next to him. If I sit a little further away, he thinks I'm giving him the cold shoulder. When I go out, I have to maintain 24/7 contact. If I miss just one call, someone will definitely appear in front of me 10 minutes later. He won't let me drink, won't let me go to bars. He sent all the male models from the Golden Finch Club to the Northwest to raise pigs. Just because I said an actor in a movie was handsome, he got jealous and hired a team of internet trolls to slander the poor boy online, saying he looked like a pig. The kid is only 17 years old. You tell me, isn't he sick? He's definitely sick. I'm not really his wife. I'm a prisoner. She spoke in one long breath, her face flushed red. Jason stared, dumbfounded, as she vented her anger, his lips moving for a long time, unsure whether to continue advising her or to comfort her first. "Stop, I know what you're going to say," Anna interrupted, raising a hand. "In your eyes, he has no flaws, right? All right, madam, you absolutely must listen to me." At this moment, Jason's eyes were not only filled with sympathy but also despair. "The young master is standing right behind you." Anna froze. Her entire body felt as if it had been flash frozen. She slowly turned her head. After 3 days of not being home, Ethan Lee now stood directly behind her, a cold, deadly smile plastered on his face. "Continue," he said. "Is there anything else?" In that instant, everyone in the room felt an aura of resentment emanating from hell. Anna stammered. "What happened to your hand?" Only then did she notice Ethan Lee's right hand was injured, wrapped in bandages. How did he get hurt? Didn't he always have bodyguards with him? Suddenly, she remembered that he had left Jason Chin, his most capable bodyguard, here with her. Could it be because of that his enemies made a move? If she had been more obedient, if she hadn't tried to run away, could he have avoided this injury? Thinking this, a pang of guilt struck her. She gently took his hand, both worried and afraid to touch too hard. "Does it hurt much?" Looking up, she suddenly saw that his cold face had softened considerably. He lowered his eyes to look at her, a slight curve to his lips as he softly replied, "You're right, I am sick." That night, perhaps because of his injury, Ethan went to sleep very early. In the middle of the night, Anna woke up to find him suddenly sitting up in the dark. "What's wrong?" she asked vaguely. "Had a nightmare." In the darkness, he was silent for a few seconds, then unexpectedly asked an unrelated question. "Stella Hạ, what do you think of the chairman of Wang Corporation?" "Wang Corporation? Who's that? Don't know him." Anna didn't bother to pay attention, just turned over to go back to sleep. Behind her, she heard a soft chuckle, then he happily pulled her into his embrace. "Sleep, good girl." Life continued in this sweet confinement. Anna gradually grew accustomed to Ethan's presence by her side, but a worry always lingered in her heart. She knew she was just a cannon fodder supporting character. Sooner or later, the real female lead would appear. One day, unable to hold it in, she decided to ask directly. "Ethan Lee," she began, "don't you have any other women?" He raised an eyebrow at her. "What do you mean?" "I mean," she probed cautiously, "as far as I know, I'm clearly the supporting character. Why am I taking up all the screen time? Where's the female lead of this novel? Like a beautiful girl named Selene White?" Ethan frowned, waving a hand to summon Jason. "Who is Selene White?" Jason glanced carefully at Anna, then quietly replied, "Young master, she's a new intern at the company. Yesterday in the lobby, she was jostled by a colleague and almost fell, so the young master helped her a little." Anna let out an ah, realizing the female lead had indeed appeared, and in a situation that was both cliched and divinely haloed. A cold, indifferent person like Ethan Lee actually helped a small intern there must be something going on. A nameless sourness suddenly welled up in her heart. She glanced sideways at his face, muttering to herself, "Will he be this gentle with her too? Will he bandage her wounds, wait for her to come home, cook for her, carry her upstairs?" "Fire her," Anna blurted out, turning sharply to look at him. Ethan Lee was also looking at her. His face, which had been as gloomy as the sky, suddenly brightened. He stared at her, a barely perceptible glint of amusement and triumph in his eyes. "I didn't realize you cared about me so much." He moved closer, bending down to look directly into her eyes. "Were you jealous just now?" Ethan's question was like an arrow hitting its mark. Anna was flustered, her cheeks burning. "Jealous of what?" she denied vehemently. I was just analyzing the plot. I'm afraid if the female lead steals you away, I'll lose my ATM." Ethan didn't argue with her. He simply chuckled softly, a genuine smile now, devoid of mockery or coldness. He reached out and gently tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear, his voice doting. "Well, let's just say you're analyzing the plot." That gentle gesture completely melted Anna's heart. She knew he understood what she was thinking. Her unpaid overtime, life continued. One day, unable to bear it any longer, she checked the calendar and cautiously probed. "Boss, you've been in the country for over 2 months now. Are you leaving soon?" Ethan looked up from his stack of documents, a flash of understanding in his eyes. "Can't bear to be without me?" "Haha, of course I can't," she forced a laugh, "but your career is most important, so don't worry and just go." He gave a faint smile. "Don't worry, I think you're hoping I leave so you can be free." He lowered his head back to his documents, casually dropping a sentence that filled her with utter despair. "I plan to reorganize the domestic industry. I'll be staying here for most of the year." "So, when on earth are you actually leaving?" she wailed internally, but as if hearing her thoughts, he pondered for a moment before replying, "In about half a month, I'll likely need to make a trip to Europe." "Really?" Anna was overjoyed. She immediately lunged forward, cupped his face, and gave him 2 loud kisses. Seeing him frozen, she quickly changed her tone. I thought you were leaving right away and felt so sad. I can't believe we still have half a month together. I'm truly overjoyed." Ethan unexpectedly reached out, pulled her onto his lap, and stared at her, full of interest. "Is that so? Then this time when I go abroad, I'll take you with me." Anna Trieu decided she had to execute her final escape plan before he dragged her off to Europe. That night she climbed the familiar wall. But this time, there were no Dobermans below, no bodyguards, just Ethan Lee standing there alone, silently in the moonlight. His face showed no anger, only a deep sadness and disappointment. "Do you still want to leave so badly?" His question made her heart ache. For the first time, she felt remorse, not from fear of punishment, but because she had hurt him. All her plans, all her courage, dissolved before that gaze. She slowly climbed down, stood before him, and bowed her head, speechless. He didn't scold her. He simply took her hand gently. "Let's go home." Anna had thought their lives would continue like this, until Ethan's enemies, cornered by his reforms, decided to launch a final attack. They didn't ambush them outside, but directly assaulted the mansion. Gunshots echoed in the night, the entire villa plunged into chaos. Ethan Lee reacted with extreme speed, one arm pulling her into his embrace, the other already holding a gun, shooting down the intruders. "Hide here, don't make a sound." He pushed her into a safe, hidden corner. "Stay here obediently and wait for me. I'll come back for you when I'm done." With that, he dashed out like a hunting leopard. But this time, Anna Trieu didn't obey. She hid behind the door, anxiously peeking out. She watched him fight, saw him get wounded in the arm while trying to protect Jason. An enemy stealthily circled around, pointing a gun at a distracted Ethan Lee. Without thinking, Anna grabbed the heavy porcelain flower vase from the table, rushed out, and with all her might smashed it over the assailant's head. Her sudden appearance made everyone freeze. Ethan turned back in horror, yelling, "Stella, get inside." But it was too late. The last remaining enemy, seeing his comrades fall, furiously opened fire on them. Ethan tried to push her away, but one bullet pierced her abdomen and another embedded directly into her chest as she fell into his arms. The pain came, but it no longer seemed as terrifying as she'd imagined. In her ears were rapid gunshots, people screaming, "Gods above, if there truly are gods, please protect him." She felt someone holding her tightly. A warm liquid trickled onto her face. She didn't know if it was tears or blood. "Stella Hạ, don't be afraid. I'll save you. Don't fall asleep. Open your eyes and look at me, I beg you." She struggled to open her eyes. For the first time, she saw Ethan Lee so vulnerable. His face was pale, his eyes blank, confused, panicked. He was like a wounded beast trying to hold onto something but unable to grasp anything. She raised her hand, wanting to wipe his tears. "Don't cry anymore. Your subordinates will see it and you'll lose face." "Are you insane?" he roared, his voice tearing through the night. "I told you to stay put obediently. When will you ever listen to me?" Though completely out of place, she truly wanted to laugh. I once said I wouldn't take responsibility for anyone," she struggled to say, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. "But today, I want to take responsibility for you. Ethan Lee, don't be sad. I'm not dying, I'm just returning to my rightful place. Don't forget me." The moment she closed her eyes, she heard a heart-wrenching scream calling her name. Suddenly, she felt truly sad, because she no longer had the chance to tell him her real name was Anna Triu. Opening her eyes once more, Anna Triu awoke in an unfamiliar hospital room. The familiar scent of disinfectant hung in the air, and outside the door, nurses were talking. "Patient in room 302 is awake. This poor girl, in a car accident in a coma for days. They say she has no family. Only a man as handsome as a god comes to stay by her side every day." A car accident? I'm back. Her heart felt empty. Without Ethan Lee, this life seemed to lose all its color. Perhaps she shouldn't have told him not to forget her. Otherwise, with each passing year, he would only have another day of sorrow. The hospital room door opened and a tall figure walked in. Anna stared, rubbing her eyes again and again. "Ethan Lee, am I dreaming, or is this a final hallucination before I truly die?" The man rushed to her bedside, his face filled with worry. "What's wrong? Where does it hurt? Nurse, quick, call the doctor." He gently stroked her hair, his voice hoarse. "Foolish girl, I'm here, you won't die." "Not dead, but how are you here?" Anna frantically clutched his hand. Ethan frowned. "I've had people investigate everything about you in this world for a long time. The moment you disappeared from that world, I knew you had returned here. That truck, I arranged it." "Why you arranged the accident?" "It was a controlled accident. I just wanted to bring you to the hospital in the most reasonable way." He sighed. "Anna, whether you are Stella Hạ or Anna Triu, don't even think about escaping from me." After being discharged, she kept her promise. She decided to seriously live well with Ethan Lee. Valentine's Day was approaching, and she clumsily learned to knit, wanting to make him a scarf. On the day of the holiday, she solemnly presented him with the scarf, its stitches uneven, loose in some places, tight in others with a few large holes. He turned it over and over, examining it for a long time, finally only gently criticizing the color. "It's a good thing you didn't think of knitting me a hat. At least you had good intentions." Anna narrowed her eyes at him. "How did you know I plan to knit you a blue hat next year? I have a lot of leftover yarn. It would be a waste not to knit it." Ethan gritted his teeth, then burst into laughter. He pulled her into his embrace, holding her tightly, and leaned down to kiss her lips in a deep, loving kiss. "As long as it's from you," he whispered, "I'll wear anything, even if it's hideous."